Let's talk a little bit. As usual, nothing prepared. Just a thought about something I would like to talk about. Because I get asked a lot of the times whenever I go to church or whenever someone notices that I cry in church. Yes, as a matter of fact, I happen to cry a lot in church. Everyone who knows about this would always ask me, or when they see me, sometimes they would approach me after church, mass, and are you okay? I appreciate it. I really do. But everyone thinks something different. Um, and at that moment, I'm not in a very talkative mood, as you can imagine. It's hard for me to express by using words at that moment. So most of the time, I just stay quiet or just nod my head or use a few words or just answer with yes or no because I'm too overwhelmed to say anything else. This is better. So why do I cry in church? I myself asked that very question the first time. The first time I had a calling to go to church. That calling did not come from me. That calling did not come from my own logical thinking or anything that comes from this man in front of you. No, it came from somewhere else. It was a message that does not belong to me. A message which was urging me to go to church mass. My immediate reaction to this was, why would I go? Like, I'm not Christian. Why would I go to church mass? This is ridiculous. But having had such experiences many times before in my life, where some voice, not a voice in the sense that you and I understand or hear with our ears, but a voice that we hear from within. And it's not the voice of our own thinking. It's not the voice of it's not a voice that's ours. How do I know this? How do you know this, Omar? Well, I'll tell you. Very briefly because it's very long and I don't want to get in too much detail. I don't want the video to be too long. But the first time this happened to me, I was 14 years old, going back home from school, from Khalil Gibran School, the school I used to attend as a teenager. It was a Saturday, I remember. I remember it was a Saturday because on Saturdays we only had morning school. And at noon we would go home and then we'd have the rest of the day free. And that day I had to join my friend Nabil for lunch at his place. And I would often go with my bicycle, especially when the weather was nice. The weather was really nice. It was spring. It was springtime at that time. and if I'm not mistaken, it was spring because it was very beautiful outside. I remember, and I would always take the same route home. The school was pretty far. It took me about 30 minutes to go from school to my house or from my house to school, and I would often miss miss the school bus, so I would end up going with my bike, even though I came late. Yeah, it was another time. It was another another world. I would come late, but it was the school was very it was a very unique school. Even though I'd come late, I would still manage to come inside and you know. Anyway, I would always take the same road, and that particular day when I was going back home, I was halfway there. I was not going home. Sorry, I was going to my friend's place. Yeah, it was before my home, but I was halfway there, and I would always take the last turn right at this very long road that goes straight down. Of course, there's other roads to the right, but I would always take the last one. And that particular day, as soon as I reached the the one before the last, the right turn before the last turn, something hit me. I was not a stranger to my own imagination. I had a big imagination. I, I used to draw comic books and create stories and write stories and all the time. I had a huge imagination. And my peers at school and my teachers knew this. So I was always imagining things, thinking about things. But this particular moment, an alien thought from somewhere I have no idea where. And at this point, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in afterlife. I don't believe in these kind of things. I was a very pragmatic, scientifically driven mind. And this thought told me, it was like a warning, like, be careful. Today, do not take the last turn that you usually take. Take the one before. And I was right. And I was right. I was just coming to the one before. And this thought came to me. This, I don't know what to call it. This inner voice. Because it's not a voice that I heard like you hear someone speaking. No, it's a very loud thought. That's the best way I could describe it. It was so loud that I had to stop my bike and try to make sense out of what happened. That's how powerful it was. It was not like a fleeting thought. Oh, okay, no. It really shocked me to the point where I had to stop and I was like, "What is this? What just happened? This have never happened to me before. This I feel like someone's thought was put into my head. I had no explanation for this. I was trying to think like, what is this? What is going on? Is someone trying to communicate to me, with me? But of course, my logical mind refuted everything. Come on, man! Don't be thinking these crazy thoughts. You don't believe in God. You don't believe in spirits or angels or whatever. Someone threw a thought in your head like, what are you talking about? Come on. I stayed there for at least 3 minutes. At least 3 minutes. Could have been probably, yeah, between 3 and 5 minutes. And then I dismissed it and I went on my way. Ignored it. And I did not turn the previous turn right. I continued on the same way that I always go. And as soon as I turned at that last turn right, a few feet, well, not feet, but yeah, I don't know how to say it, a few meters ahead, there was this group of kids who were slightly older than me, but they were outnumbered. They outnumbered me. They were probably at least 6 boys, at least between 6 and 8 or 10, I don't know. And I recognized one of them, and I knew he was not a good guy because my friends from the neighborhood told me, yeah, that guy's not good. You know, he's a thief and he's this and he's that. As soon as I saw him, he looked like it's weird. It's as if he was waiting for me. He doesn't even know I go. They were on their way home too, like from their school. You know, they didn't go to the same school as me. I was on my bike going, and as soon as I came closer to them, he turned around and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and like, fuck. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I was like that, because he doesn't really know me, but he saw me with my other friends, which he knows, and anyway, and he's like that, and I'm like this, and I just start cycling slowly. He tries to grab my bike, and then I feel, oh my god, what is going on? So I try to get away. They chase me. They take me off my bike. Long story short, they take everything I had. My bike, my backpack. That was the last day I ever wore a cap. Because I don't wear caps, if you've noticed. You've never seen me wearing a cap before. That was the last day that I wore a cap. Not because of this incident, but it was just the last day I wore a cap. I liked wearing turbans. I like wearing turbans and stuff, but I don't like wearing caps. But that was the last day, and they were trying to take my watch, everything, and I was full of fear. I was in shock. Not in shock, I mean, yeah, I was fear, but at the same time, I was showing anger, not fear. I was not begging them to leave me alone. I was fighting. I was, hey, don't touch me. Hey, give me that. Hey, get off. Get away from me, like that. Like, I was very, defensive. And then I didn't know what to do. One took my bike, left. One took my everything, And then that kid who recognized me and who I recognized was like, hey, we're just joking, man. Like what are you talking about? Come on, guys, give him back his stuff. You think we're gonna really take your stuff? Come on, give him back his stuff. I have no idea why he did that. He didn't even have to do that. They could just have taken my stuff and left. I don't know. They ended up giving me everything back. And I just stood there. The only one who didn't give me back my thing was the guy who took my bike at that time, and I was like, so what about my bike? And he was like, oh no, because he was a bit far. No, just go to him and tell him to give him tell him to give you your bike. And I was like, what? I just go up to him and he's getting my, yeah. What? Okay. So I go to him, I leave them behind, I run to him, and he's like cycling slowly. I'm like, hey, give me back my bike. Like, oh, okay. Weird. I go home. Well, I get on my way and I'm like, and I have this very deep feeling like, next time, listen to me. So that was the first time this happened to me. Many times it happened after this, and I was obedient. And when I was obedient, I found out later that if I was not obedient, I would have either, something very dangerous would have happened to me. I would have been in great danger or even died. One incident was, there was an accident the next day. I'll tell you the story later because I have a limit of 15 minutes. I don't even have time to say why I cry in church, but I'll try to say it. That same voice that guided me all throughout my life was the same voice that told me to go to church. And that first day when I went to church, I just couldn't stop crying. Couldn't stop crying. And ever since, every time I go to church, every time I open the Bible, every time something about God moves me to tears.